Hello, welcome everyone to the 12th episode of Breakfast with Jorge. Before we start this episode, let me tell you something is that the world nowadays is suffering from the impact of very low aluminium inventories. And this is exactly what we are going to discuss in this episode. So with that, let me introduce you with our speaker, Mr. Jorge, an LME expert. Good morning, Jorge. How are you?
Hi, Prarana. Good morning. How are you? Well, I'm here this morning, as usual, having my breakfast with mate and back to the United States where it's so warm. We have summertime here with some days. Well, in India should be mostly the same. It's some days with 38, 40 degrees, 42. We cannot walk in the streets, but we are fine. Thank you.
Okay, so Jorge, you have been tracking aluminium market for decades now. Is that what we are seeing today truly different, or this is just another cycle?
Uh, well, I mean, this is different. I mean, I have seen this. Um, I mean, a similar situation when was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when the war between Russia and Ukraine started, and this is when we see an important shift in terms of inventories and in terms of prices of aluminum. The aluminum went over, the cash price went over 4,100. Today, the cash price is around, let's say, 3,700. But there is a huge difference because in 2025, during that years, we saw a fall of over 50% on inventories levels. And that was before the conflict in the Middle East, which in fact destroyed plants and also created a problem with the logistics in terms of transportation throughout the zone. So the two situations gathered make a very important shift in terms of inventories. That, of course, you have some numbers. You have the inventories in Shanghai, you have the inventories, open numbers at the LME. We can estimate the level of inventories of warrants, and of course, there are the inventories which are located in every smelter's plant. But conceptually speaking, this amount is small, and this amount is dangerous, yeah, in terms of level.
Okay, so did you mention or I heard about the sort of 92% of LME registered aluminium in Russian origin? So, what does that actually mean for a buyer in Europe or the United States today?
Yeah, um, perhaps I didn't mention you, but you know that about the 92%. It's a very important point you are mentioning, that 92% or around 90% of the inventories are sanctioned, of the LME inventories, because they are from Russia, branded in Russia, and they are subject to the restrictions of trading. So if we just stick to the 300,000, the number we actually see, the cold number we see, it's terrifying, because it can imply just a 2%. I mean, it's nothing. It's say 5 days of product. It doesn't make any difference whether it's 5 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. It's extremely low. This is really extremely low.
Okay, everyone is talking about a potential Russia Ukraine peace agreement. So wouldn't that solve the aluminium supply problem?
I mean, yes, of course. I mean, any end within the Russian conflict would imply an additional available inventories in market, which is not going to trigger immediately. We can say of millions of tons coming into the market. And again, regardless that those inventories would come much later, the price, the 3-month price, may adjust with lower values. But let's not forget that the price structure, we have the cash prices and the future prices, that normally the cash prices are supply demand related. So even though the conflict will be solved, in my view, is that there is a high chance that the structural backwardation, like it happened in copper in the past, we normally, when you saw in the past the structure of the copper, you would see backwardations, which is what is new for aluminum, which was always in contango, and we may see a structural backwardation for a while.
Okay, you have seen 300 US dollar backwardation in aluminium. So before, during the Russian invasion, could we get there again or even higher?
Yeah, the as far as I remember, the say the 3-month price was 3,850, and the cash price, as I said before, it was over 4,000, 4,100. And you know, there's volatility because the prices move, but I can remember of a $300 backwardation, which compared to the present one, which is around $60, $70 backwardation, is much higher. But as a construction between the real availability plus the expectation, today there are really conditions to see a much higher backwardation, yes, than the one we saw now. Whether it's 300, whether it's 500, we don't know. It will pretty much depend on how the market will expect and behave. But definitively, the possibility exists.
Okay, so what's your practical message for the aluminium buyers and producers watching this right now?
Um, and again, um, you must clearly see that this is a structural situation which might bring you to higher prices if you price your purchase before your sale. If that is the case, um, of course you have to calculate very well the exposures and hedge or pre-hedge. You can lock in even a backwardation. If it is $60, you can lock it in, just not to pay higher, and you know that the $60-$70 back is with you. You can hedge carries. Yeah, this is say contango backwardation lock in, and then you don't have any further risk. Of course, you may lose the opportunity of a situation which might play better for you, but definitively you can hedge. Yeah.
Okay, Jorge, let us introduce
Yeah.
our third edition of Hedging for Recyclers collaboration with Al Circle and you. So let us introduce that to the audience through this episode.
So, of course, speaking of our new venue, venue of our new seminar, which is focused for recyclers. Listen, um, one thing is that the aluminum situation, and of course, this is applicable on all other metals. Um and one thing is recycling, because thanks to recycling, um, the price is not that high. It could be much higher, and the availability of product exists, because you have to account that for recycling you also need a process. You don't trigger recycling immediately, and then you have to create the process of collection and then shipping or whatever. Also bear into account, for example, that to produce recycled to produce an aluminum alloy based on recycled aluminum, you need just 5% of the energy you would need to produce the primary one. But you need a process. But having said that, the situation brings that the recycling industry will grow and grow very, very dramatically. And the moment the recycling industry insert itself as a substitute, which would be with the much frequent use, the recyclers will need to adapt themselves to the model in the primary aluminum industry, which is the quotational period, the fixing. The recyclers, the trading in recycling, you will not buy at a fixed price, you will not sell at a fixed price. You're going to have variable prices in both purchases and sales. And this is when we come in with pricing, because you will have, as when trading the primary, two different quotational period, and the impact of the carries, the contangos and the backwardations, and this will definitively imply an exposure. And even if your business is very profitable, to have less profits that you can lock in. And this is one of the topics we are gonna clearly teach, explain, and exercise during our encounter in July. So I really recommend it, strongly recommend to join us. And even though you feel you are not close to use hedging in recycling, you must know it. You must be aware of it, because the opportunity hedging in recycling offers you, as well as in primary, they are huge, huge. So this is why I think you should join us. And perhaps during our next encounters, we can go deeper in detail.
Yeah, of course. With that, we end the 12th episode of Breakfast with Jorge. We introduced our upcoming third edition of Hedging for Recyclers. With the upcoming Breakfast with Jorge episodes, we will dig deeper into what this third edition is all about. Till then, put your thoughts and views about the market in our comment section below. And yeah, stay tuned with us for more details about the upcoming course. Thank you.